But to achieve this future, we must enrich the mind and the souls of every American child. Education is the civil rights issue of our time.
To win that competition for the future, in my view, we also need to make a once-in-a-generation investment in our families and our children.
There is no greater impact that the federal government has on the lives of students than through public school funding. Schools are funded through a combination of federal, state, and local government funds. These funds come primarily from taxes, state income, and property.
According to the Pennsylvania School Boards Association, only about 30% of the cost of public education is covered by the state. This means that local school districts are forced to make up that difference, mostly through property taxes. However, because property tax rates differ by neighborhood, schools in wealthier areas with higher property tax bases receive more funding than those in poorer areas. This results in a large disparity in the quality of education between schools in various neighborhoods.
As you can see by these two maps, there is an overlap between low-income households and schools that the School District of Philadelphia believes needs intervention. The school district has been focusing resources and working alongside parent groups in order to support these schools, but without sufficient funding, not much can be done.
Due to a majority of schools being built around lower income areas, many schools in the Philadelphia School District lack the resources to effectively educate their students. This also raises the achievement gap between the poorer and wealthier schools. This can be seen in Pennsylvania, where, according to the Philadelphia Inquirer, Pennsylvania's public school children are being shortchanged by $4.6 billion, and those in the poorest school districts who have fallen the furthest behind are owed the most. The School District of Philadelphia's superintendent, William Hite, had also testified during the Pennsylvania Fair School funding trial. He states that it was in order to make sure that in the future, whoever came after him should not face the same types of circumstances he had to face while trying to educate students without sufficient resources and support to do so. Arizona's 7th District Representative Ruben Gallego had also voiced his opinion about the funding situation, along with many teachers of the district.
But the Arizona legislature refused to provide sufficient money for support staff, classroom supplies, and other resources they need to effectively do their jobs. And so today, Arizona teachers and I are wearing red because the fight to ensure that every child receives a quality education is not over. Our students deserve better. They deserve fully funded schools with state-of-the-art classrooms to ensure our kids have the skills they need to succeed in a quickly changing world.
Although there are many concerns with the funding issues in the school district, on March 27, 2020, former President Donald J. Trump enacted the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act, also known as the CARES Act, in order to help educators and students accommodate to the COVID-19 pandemic, providing emergency funds to students, and it helped families that may have been economically impacted by the pandemic.
And we immediately distributed all of the CARES funds. There were about $30 billion appropriated for education, and gave the schools the flexibility around their current year funding as well, so that they could immediately use those resources to do what they needed to do on behalf of students, whether it be cleaning supplies or personal protection equipment or technology.
Due to the success of the CARES Act during the pandemic, President Joe Biden extended the bill into 2022, allowing schools to give students the necessities they would need for the school year, such as food, course materials, technology, and healthcare.
Disconnect that puts huge costs on the higher education system to make it kind of clean up these problems and have it be a lot more open about what's going on and a lot more efficient, a lot more positive for that student. So that's a boundary both in reading and writing and math that has been very, very problematic, particularly for kids coming out of inner city high schools.
Thank you.
It is without a doubt that school funding is an important part of our lives as students. allowing schools to get the technology, materials, and staff they need so that students can receive the best possible education, which is crucial for their emotional and intellectual growth. Since these schools are entrusted with the futures of many bright students, they require the best possible resources. However, our school districts are unable to provide those resources that our students desperately need, which is why the federal government needs to play a bigger role in funding our school districts.